Welcome to Trading Lounge and the US stock, starting with the NASDAQ though. There's two pathways for the NASDAQ that I can see, summing everything up. One of them is that we come down to the 1480 and then push off. And the other one is that we come down in 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 5 here, and we come down a little bit closer into these particular lows here before pushing off. Now, if I've made a total mistake of this and you need to go long, then the 15,100 here as a tested support would be the long trade at that point. Okay, we'll talk more about this when we get to the indices video. So coming over to Apple here, one of the things that on this 100 tick chart here, one of the things here is that this ABC that's dropped here has dropped a little bit low in this case, and I can see that it's just sort of testing the top of, well, wave 4 to wave 1 here. So it's just testing that somewhat. So what I may need to do is I may need to bring in wave 5 over here of wave 3 here, and then bring in this here as wave 4. So if we look at this on the bigger picture of 1 day here, a daily chart, it will look a little bit like this here. So it will look like from the low here, definitely an impulse wave that's not finished, okay? However, we've got wave 1 and 2 here, and then 1 and 2, and this has been a little bit of a journey through here. Now I've got this little green wave 2 here, but you can see that this may have just nipped the low here, but that's not. This is a CFD charting program, and CFD providers, they have to make their market, so their prices can be slightly different. Anyhow, apart from that situation, this wave, putting this in here, I can't really, without forcing it, I don't see a nice 5-wave move into this space here just yet. But like I said, it's kind of just, in this case here, it's just taking over this wave, because I had this as wave 1, 2, and 3 here, and coming back for 4 and then going up for 5. So there is a slight overlap there. So I'm not quite sure the best way to handle that just yet, but this is what we may need to do at this point. So just coming back to the intraday here, well, I'll come back there in a second. Yeah, everything's pretty much, I mean, it is a corrective pattern, that's all. You know, it's not such a big deal, so we're just going to hold long on those. But there may be another little low here. I have counted from this A wave here, and ABC for the B wave, which I think we may have talked about yesterday, then 1, 2. I can count 5 waves down here for 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 here. So it's possible to have a low in place here, but with the NASDAQ pushing down, it's possible that we could get a new low, and this wave 4 would come over to this little area through here. So in this case, you can look for long trades if you can see support on top of the 190. That would be the safe move around at that point. So we may need to look at this as a different wave 4 over here. I'll need to look at this trend to see how I can fit that in there. So yes, so we were, as mentioned yesterday, we're looking for sort of buying opportunities on Tuesday, Wednesday, so we'll just sort of stay with that at the moment. But because the NASDAQ, you know, if it does come down, then you know these stocks are likely to bring this wave 5 down to here, that type of thing, you know, have that extra low there. But yeah, there's a good chance that there's a low in here, because I can, you know, see this here. So anyway, we'll just see, just give it a little bit more time. As I mentioned yesterday, we need to give it some time. So Amazon here, that also dropped sharply. This is one of the biggest drops. So we need to look at this here as an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave here as well. Now, if we're going to go long here again at this point, then we'll need to see a little 5 waves up here for this, right? And then we can look to, let's borrow that for a second, then we can build in over here for that. This is the same sort of move down that Apple's got, so we can have a low in place, but we just need to be a bit mindful that we could get one more coming in. But I think we're there. But when yeah, I just got to give it some time. You know, that's all. It's looking quite good. And it counts down as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. So I think we're good to go. But I just want to make sure. So I'm just going to wait another session and get that impulse wave to the upside. NVIDIA also came down with the markets as well. Still holding up quite nicely. It's still vibrating. It's all about this number here. The situation here is that I can still count this up here as an A and a B, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's quite possible all of this is an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave here for this wave too, rather than wave 1 and 2. So I need to figure out that. But I think the best thing to do here is that, like the other markets, it is possible for it to come down one more time, but there's also the scope for it to move straight up from where it is here at the moment. Okay, so I just want to see if we get, you know, it looks impulsive here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. Just want to see if we get that impulsive wave, and if we get it, then we can look to buy back in on the B wave or the pullback and all that. But I want to see that 5 waves there first. But everything's looking good. We've just had a bit, it's been a bit of weakness in the market. That's something we just need to accommodate. And meta platforms here, we talked about a 5 wave move down here yesterday, looking for a B wave. So bit of a wild swing in ABC, and don't really have a nice 5 waves down here, do we? So may need to label a little bit differently, unless we look at this as 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 5, probably about right. But you can see here we've got, this wants to go higher. So this is, and it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for 1 and 2 here. So it's looking more impulsive than corrective. But yeah, this is a corrective pattern. Will it get any larger? I don't know. The other point here too, of course, is that we've talked about this many times, I think, is the arrival here, and then we get the reactions always in some type of corrective pattern, which we got here, and then we'll be looking for 5 waves above the level for the first high above the level, and then we'll be looking for an ABC pattern here, a larger ABC pattern, and this is the one that we want over here for this. Okay, so all of this is a classic trading levels pattern that will play out here. I mean, you can get involved in them, but the general idea if you're trading stocks in trend trading is that you would trade to here, get out, and then you wait and you get back in over here, or if you can build in over here, and you don't get involved in this, because basically you make your money in the trend and you give it back in the correction. So it's kind of corrective here, but there's parts you can play. I mean, this pattern can go on for, in stocks, it can go on for like 3 months, or 6 months, so that's why it's good to understand this particular pattern and do that. So yeah, we'll look for something like that. So the other point too is that this move that does move up here can be anywhere. It can be 10, 20 and 30 here, and in fact it can go above the 30, but it can do that kind of thing and then work down again. If we're not going to get this particular pattern, the market's going to continue, well then I will just look for a classic trading levels pattern on top of 330. That's the point that I know that I'm wrong, and that's where I need to be long at that point. So I know at what point I'm going to be wrong, I know what I'm going to do if I'm wrong, and at what time and all the rest of it. So yeah, the trading levels are good like that. But in the meantime, we'll just look for a 5 waves up here somewhere, and should be all right at that point. But yeah, I mean, obviously you can trade up there. I don't know how far it's going to go up here. I mean, I just normally sort of bring it to 2 here, but that can lead people astray because it might just go to 1 or 150 and those type of things. Depends how strong the pull to the number is. So you need to look at the market depth and have a look at those sorts of things. So, but that's meta platform. So that's going okay. And Netflix here, yeah, it's not the best wave one up here, I have to say, and it could be viewed as a corrective pattern. I understand that. But long as it stays above the 61.8% here, then we can treat it as sort of moving higher. It's one of the stronger stocks. I could put wave 2 here. I could put wave 2 over here. There could be another test to come down here. Trend line looks sort of okay at that point. So we'll just continue to hold and just monitor this situation. We'll look to add to this on top of the 450 here as well. But we're not there yet. So, but in the meantime, because of the NASDAQ has got the possibility of moving down, doesn't have to, but it can, because the situation is that from the top of wave B here for the NASDAQ, the move down here is in 5 waves, but then we've got this pattern in here which looks like an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave here. That's the issue here. If I didn't have that, then it'll be nice and clean as an A, B, C pattern here, you know. So I just don't think that's the case at this point. So then it leaves us with 2 options: one more move down and then up, and that's something that I'm seeing in stocks. So this is probably this one. This is probably the most likely one. But looking at this here, we could look at it as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down to here, coming back down to this point. We've always viewed this as a possible B wave here as well. Same with the S&P 500. It's pretty hard to get. It's easier to get 5 waves up here. But yeah, I can just count this in. It hasn't made a new high here. I can count this up as an A and a B wave here, and then look at this as 1 and 2 here, and 1, 2, 3, 4. I could probably drag 4 all the way over to here, and then 5. So it's possible to look at it as a B wave and a C wave down here too. There's a couple of different ways to look at it. I mean, the other way to look at this too is we can put wave 5 over here, if that's the case, but it's a bit truncated at that point, you know, and then have wave 3 at that point and look at this as a different wave 4. There's a few things like that that are occurring as well. I don't think we have to really worry about it too much. I just think that we're in the later stages of this correction here, and once it finishes, then all the stocks will push up at that point too, of course. They'll take it higher. So this could fluff around and a bit more here in different ways. I mean, you know, we could end up with an A wave here, a B wave here, and a C wave here, and then push up here and just cover that little gap in there, that type of thing, you know. I just don't think we need to, I think we just need to just sort of wait it out, really, you know. It's just a bit of a storm, and some of the structures aren't that good. So Google and Microsoft also dropped with Amazon, so we need to view it like this here. So yeah, so a little bit more down here. This can come to 113 here before pushing to the upside. These markets that have got don't have a very nice, you know, in fact, these can be viewed as corrective rallies, these type of patterns here. If we take the top here roughly and the low here, we can see that we are at that 50, 60% little, not 50%, 61.8, 62% and 65%, the little pocket there. So it's, you know, we've been aware of that, and we've got bearish counts for this as well. So if we just have a look at those for a moment, let me just go to here. 50k, there's 2 ways we can look at the bearish count here, and one of them is that we've got an A, B, C here for a W, and then an X here, and if we've got a W and X, we're working in 3 waves, then we can look at the move up here in 3 waves. We can go an A and a B and a C wave here and have a top in play. So that's quite possible at that point. Okay, the other bearish count is putting wave 5 up here for this. So wave C of B up here for this, a little bit higher. And that would be looking at this here as an ABC for the A wave, a B wave, and then looking at this as 1 here and 2 here and 3 here and 4 here and 5 here in that case. So there's a couple of ways to look at it. Don't need to go there just yet on this, but you know, we've looked at this before and we'll look at it again. So coming back to, was the daily chart or 20,000 ticks or something? So yeah, so we'll need to look at this. So basically what we're looking for here, from the top here, we're looking for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that kind of like would suit the NASDAQ coming down 2 at that point. Doesn't have to, but let's go in and have a look at this on 100 ticks. So let me just get some more data in here so you've got a good view of this. So we'll have to look at this as wave 3 here, an A, B, C for the A wave, a B wave, and the C wave here. So the C wave is 1 and 2, and I can count 5 waves in here, right? Then 4, and then this one here. It doesn't really make a new low here. So I could put wave 5 here, but I think in fairness that it's possible to look at something like this here to come down to finish off, you know, some sort of move to finish this off, because 1 is quite clear, 3 is quite clear, 4 is not quite clear. This could be all part of 4 here, an A wave, a B wave, and or something, and then a move up here, and then a move down to here. So if we're going to go along here, we want the first high above the 18 here to so we need that high here above the 18 here. Then it's not a wave 4 at that point. We've got a change in trend. So I think that we just let this play out here for a little bit in the next session. And so same with Microsoft as well. We can tie this in as a wave 4 here. So we're just going to lift this up 1 degree of structure. Definitely, this is definitely a corrective pattern, because the first move down here is in 3 waves, not 5 waves. So that's a blessing in disguise. So yeah, we're just looking for a 3 wave swing, which is this one, and this one. So the question is this finished yet? So we're going to go to the 100 tick, and it will be pretty much like the other ones, the other markets here. We can view it as, I could go 1, 2, 3 here, and 4 here, and 5 here. That's certainly possible, but I just want to be a little bit cautious and just wait to see if we get that. It looks like we've got 5 waves in the first leg here, like a little 5 waves here, and then 1 and 2, and it looks like it wants to go, and I have counted that there is 5 waves in that. This doesn't count that well as 5 waves, but it's doable. I just think we need to be a little bit careful, but in a nutshell, if this is the wave 4 of 1 lesser degree, any support on top of that with a little classic trading levels pattern on top of that, then you can look to go long, but we'll do that over here really for this. On top of 335 will be a safer bet. I mean, you can go long here and put the stop under here if you wish, but I don't really have much to go off. You know, it's not quite strong enough to go off. That's the thing. And then we come over to Tesla, and with Tesla here, we talked about this yesterday, so it has pulled down further. So in this case, we're going to look at it as 1 and 2 here, and 3, 4, 5 up here for 1, and then the A, the B, and then 1 and 2. And this looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here for the 3rd wave, and this will be the 4th wave and the 5th wave here. So this will be a buying box at this point. And once again, this also could just go straight up from here as well. So a nice support on top of 272 and 273 would be the way forward on that, because I could just put the B wave over to here for this and look at this as an A and a B and a C wave to here, and then look at this coming down here. Okay, so there's 2 ways to look at that. So the long trade would be going on top of, well, 272 or 273, wherever you can. This little point over here, this previous high, this little correction here, this here, getting support on top of that. So the visually you'd want to see support on top of that, you know. So in one way, you see how that's popped up there? That's what you'd look for over here as well. And then look to go along there, and then look to go along over here for that. And if it doesn't get triggered in, well then, you've saved yourself a position, a loss. That's the beauty of it. So we'll just see how this plays out. But yeah, as I mentioned yesterday, we need to just be patient and wait for that low to come in. It does look like the NASDAQ's pushing off a little bit here, just in this, but I think we need to give it a little bit of space here. If it's the wave 2, then we'll need to look at this down here from here to here, and the little pocket is here at the 61.8%. So that means that here you would need to have support on 15,500. So you would need to have a little classic trading levels pattern, first high above the level for that. Wait for that. It might be something like this where you get quite high up here first, and that becomes a bit useless, but it's just the way it is. And you have to wait for that, and then you can drop it down to the second one here. And then there may be another one you can drop it down to here. But you have to wait for that process, because otherwise it can catch you out. So we'll see. But yeah, good support on this number here, and then we'll be going straight up from that point. But it doesn't make a lot of sense with this one in here. So there's still potential for downside. Alrighty, I'll leave it at that. Thanks for tuning in. Cheers.